Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. I hope everybody is doing well and has had a great weekend. I have had a very, very good weekend. As we're all getting ready for Christmas. As you can see, I've got the Christmas background on, and you'll notice I also have the world's tiniest Christmas tree. I mean, I was thinking about getting one of those tiny little Christmas shrubs, which I could then just put on my desk over there. But I ended up getting this instead. It kind of does the job. It maybe needs some tinsel. Maybe I'll get some tinsel and stuff on it, but it kind of does the job. It's subtle, I suppose. But Carl says works much better when you turn the sound up. Yes, if you have your speakers muted or your sound turned down, you are not going to hear a word I'm saying. So that would definitely help. All right, so let's go see who is here. Billy Morgan was first in the door again. We got the Alien Intelligence Agency, which I think is a hilarious name for a YouTube channel. I like it. And Ron Figura is here, Rock Tease is here, Neil is here as well, Rich Cresswell is also here, Kyle Trajusiak is here. He says, I may be a little late, pizza delivery on the way, I always get to answer the door. Ah, so you're having pizza today, that's cool. Billy Morgan is here, Tony Stringer is here, and gotta have a little drum roll there for Peace Valley Audio, my good friend Mike. I have so many mics. And I'm not just talking about microphones. I have so many friends called Mike. It's amazing. Mike, Michael, loads of people by that name. So that's awesome. And welcome back. I'm glad you're back. You and I have been talking a wee bit in Messenger, which has been very nice. And he says, long time no see. And he says, I'll be checking out what y'all are saying about V7 for a bit. Awesome. I'm glad you have gone for it. And he says he signed up for the subscription to do some evaluating. If I like it, I'll buy a perpetual license. You can do either. Personally, for me, I used to be diehard perpetual license only. I was just like, I like to actually own my license and all of that. But no, that's not where I'm at now. I much prefer the subscription because it means I just get access to everything, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about upgrading. I don't have to think about any of that because that just happens automatically. So it doesn't really bother me. At the end of the day, the company are going to get my money, whether I get perpetual license or whether I get subscriptions. So as far as I'm concerned, it's swings, as my wife says, swings on roundabouts. I think the expression is swings and roundabouts, but she prefers to say swings on roundabouts. Which is why I titled one of my albums a few years back, about 12 years ago, I made a record called Swings on Roundabouts. And that's why. It's because that was her little thing. Her little expression. But yeah, Mike, I'm glad you're here. Who else we got? We got just Bob here. We got Dwayne as well. And we got the W5 family here as well. We got Bobby Booth. And we got Don Oliver as well. And we got Keith from Radio Top Frumpy. We got Sean Aaron. We've got Rock Tease. We got Russell Harris, who is here as well. And who else do we have? Danny Taylor is here. And CHDB Music is here. Hello to you. I'm glad you're here. Mike says, I won't be here for long. That's a shame. Stick around. Stick around, my friend. 4:30 a.m. comes real... well, yeah, I guess, for your work, yes, you've got to be up early in the morning. So, going to bed early is probably a smart move. Going to bed early has never been something I've been, any good at. Mano Rega is here as well. Tree looks lovely. Thank you. Yeah, it's a little bit kind of naked. It's got LED lights on it. And it said on the box that they were bright white LEDs. No, they're not. If anything, they're kind of yellow. So, I don't know. Misleading on the box is that's all I can say. All right, so what are we going to be talking about tonight? So, as many of you know, we have the Christmas Songwriting Challenge, which has 10 days left. So, if you want to get involved, please do that. And there, I said do. It's one of my favorite words. So yeah, if you want to get involved, please do get involved. Rich Cresswell is the man to talk to about that, because he is my partner in crime for these songwriting contests, and he has organized a workspace for all of the Christmas stuff, just like he did for the Halloween contest as well. We had a workspace for that. We have one for the Christmas challenge as well, and he has put his details up there in the chat. Says connect here to take part, so please follow that link. If you are a member of Studio One Pro Plus, getting access to that is super duper easy. Incredibly easy. If you are not, and you just have a perpetual license for Studio One, it's still really, really easy. All you need is the my.presonus.com account, which everybody has. So all you got to do is just follow that link, connect with Rich, and he will invite you to the workspace. You don't have to be a member of the subscription to be able to use the workspace. Anybody with a my.presonus.com account can get access to it. It's cool. You just can't create a workspace. Only members can create them. But anybody with a my.presonus.com account can join them. So even if you're not a Studio One person and you have no Presonus gear whatsoever and you're kind of new around here, but you'd love to take part, you can still take part. It's really easy. Just create a my.presonus.com account at that web address. It's free. Doesn't cost you a cent. Doesn't cost you a peso. Doesn't cost you a penny. You just create that account, and there you go. And Rich says, if you are not a Studio One Pro Plus subscriber, let me know in the comments here and I will contact you. There you go. So that's the way. It's less easy if you're not a member, but it's still reasonably easy. But if you're not a member of Studio One Pro Plus, then you can get in. So anybody that has a my.presonus.com account can get in on this, and you can join the workspace. No trouble. And as Rich says here, you have to have an email request to join the workspace. So it is possible to get connected and get involved. So please do get involved. We've got like 10 days left. And all you got to do is write something seasonal, wintry. Doesn't even have to be specifically Christmas. It could be something about Hanukkah. It could be, it could be something about winter. You could write something about snow. You could write something about, I don't know. You could write something about, I don't know, about snow, about bears, about wintry kind of weather, whatever your heart desires. So long as it's kind of in that kind of seasonal Christmas, that kind of vein. Doesn't have to be religious at all. Could be completely and utterly secular. So, and that's it. There's no other rules. Other than it has to be at least 90 seconds long and no more than 5 minutes long. And that's it. Those are all the requirements. All right, so that's it for the songwriting thing. I just wanted to put out a reminder there for those of you that are here that have not gotten involved in it. It's still open. You can get involved. The closing date is December 18th at 7 p.m. Central Time. I've actually put a specific timestamp on it this year. I don't normally do that, but this year I have. So please do get involved and get your entry into the submissions folder in the workspace by 7 p.m. Central Time on the 18th. And your submission will be accepted. Any submissions after that time, sorry, they won't be accepted. We've got to have some kind of cutoff. And then the winner will be announced on December 22nd on the Sunday Night Live show. The reason for that is the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be not only out of town, but I'm going to be out of the country. I'm not going to be in Scotland for several days. So that's kind of why we're doing that. And there's basically no more Songwriting Simplified shows until next year. So the last week's show was the last Songwriting Simplified of 2024. So we'll start again in 2025. All right, so I thought that since we're heading towards 2025, and I thought we would do this over maybe the next few shows, I thought maybe we could just have a think and post in the chat things that you would like to see from Presonus in 2025. So we can talk Studio One, we can talk, new features added to Studio One that you'd like to see. We can also talk new hardware products or, stuff like that. What kind of new gear, new software would you like to see from Presonus? And what new updates, new features would you like to see to Studio One? So we're not going to talk about bug fixes. We're talking features strictly. So if you want to see something new added to Studio One, that's great. We can talk about that. I'm not going to talk about, things like the grid lines don't show up very well in Studio One. Not going to talk about those kind of things. Like we would, we would normally talk about those kind of things. We'd normally talk about bugs and that kind of thing. Bugs, they get spotted, they get highlighted, they get reproduced, they get logged in with the development team, and then they get fixed. So that's kind of standard procedure. So what I'm talking about here is features for Studio One. And, maybe new hardware products, or maybe something, maybe some new features for universal control to have better access to Presonus hardware products. So whatever takes your fancy, whatever ideas you've got, let's get them in the chat and let's have a discussion about those ideas. I'd love to see what you guys are thinking about. Now, I know for a lot of people, they say, well, we're at Studio One 7. What possibly could be added? What possibly could be added to Studio One? It's got pretty much everything that there is to get, What new features could possibly be added? So use your imagination, okay? Feel free to think big. I mean, I don't mean kind of think the impossible, like a plugin that makes coffee, for example. That's probably not on Presonus's radar and probably never will be, sadly. Great idea though it is. I don't think it's ever going to be a thing. So, keep it kind of grounded in reality, but, let's dream big as well. And let's be creative. Let's exercise and flex some imagination, because I know you guys are really, really creative. The songwriting challenges have proved that over the last couple of years. You guys are really, really creative. So, and you like to use Studio One, and you all use Studio One in really different ways. So, what do you think of when you think of what is going to make my life easier to do in Studio One? So let's get all those in the chat, and I can see some coming in already, which is cool. Rocktease says, I'd love to see Presonus push other DAW developers to continue with the .song standard. The .song file format is actually specifically to Presonus. But what you're talking about there is the DAW project file format, which is the cross-platform format. Now, there has been a little bit of movement on that, by the way. We have seen another DAW manufacturer. I forget who it is, but there's another DAW manufacturer that now support the new DAW project file format created in partnership between PreSonus and Bitwig Studios. So that's exciting. And it does kind of mean that now puts pressure on some other DAW manufacturers like Steinberg for Cubase and Nuendo, and Avid for Pro Tools. It would be really great to see them come on board as well, and maybe Apple for Logic to get them involved in it as well. The more DAWs, the merrier, because then it means, creativity between DAWs is no longer limited by file formats, and you don't have to, mess around with exporting to AAF and then hoping that the DAW that you're going to be opening AAF file formats onto actually opens it as a standard AAF. Some don't. Some, it's AAF on the front, but on the back end, it's I think it's an MXF file in the background for some DAWs when they open AAF file format files. That's easy for me to say. And so what that tends to mean is that some aspects of AAF don't work on other DAWs. Or, like if you're doing something in a video editing software and then you need to export all of that to Studio One, for example, some video editing software, it doesn't really work very well. The AAF file format doesn't fully open, certain things don't translate, don't get across to Studio One, because it's a different file format in the background, depending upon which software it's coming from. So that's definitely an issue. But so certainly seeing a continuation of DAW project, yes, I don't see that ever stopping. So let's go up to the top here. Sean Aaron says, a field recorder or stereo mic that adapts to my phone for great audio captures for video recording. Yeah, so an extension to the mics that we make. PreSonus makes a good number of microphones. So something like a shotgun mic with a dead cat, for example, that would be pretty cool. And a field recorder, that would be great. Bobby Biz says, I'd like to see PreSonus come out with their own tape machine. Are you talking about a tape machine plug-in or an actual physical tape machine? I think it's more likely that a plug-in is going to be more likely than a hardware tape machine, because plug-ins are kind of easier and cheaper to make than an actual tape machine. But yes, I would agree. I would definitely love to see a tape machine emulation plug-in. For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Mike at Peace Valley Audio says, I would like to see assignable MIDI CCs on the fader port 8 in MIDI mode. I don't like having the fixed ones we do now that are specific to a MIDI function. Yeah, that's good. That's a good feature request. I like that. Offsets per sound variation. I'd like to see more commands for macros, a new or improved sampler, optional auto gain for effects. Those are all really, really great suggestions, Rich. You and I have talked a lot about offsets for sound variations to account for the latency and that kind of thing for sound variations. Kyle Trajuziak, he says MIDI 2.0. Yes, MIDI 2.0 would be great. Now, here's the thing. The entire world of music production has been super duper slow at even adopting MIDI 2.0. There are hardly any keyboard controllers that support MIDI 2.0. Very, very few. And therefore, the software world has been, well, if the hardware is not really there, should we really be investing any money in developing support for MIDI 2.0? So I'm sure there's that kind of thing going on. So it's a little bit of a phony war at the moment with the software world. Are waiting for the hardware world to do something, and the hardware world are probably saying, well, there's not really any DAWs that support this, so why should we? So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a stalemate. One needs to move so that the other moves. So yeah, I agree with that. MIDI 2.0 would be great. Rich also says ability to export cue points as a data sheet. Now that is a great idea. I really, really like that. And Dave from Aurora's Borealis says, what I would like when you first load up Studio One would be a window that shows the wrench first, a heads up to the initial setup. You're going to have to explain that one a little bit more. Now, I know you've only got like 250 characters, so it's going to be hard to explain that a little more. I get that. But I'm not quite sure why you would want the wrench to appear first. So yeah, you're going to explain that maybe a little more to me. Just Bob says, I'd like to see a user-friendly MIDI guitar. Yeah. There are some good MIDI guitars out there, and there are certainly some good MIDI pickups that you can get for guitars. Alan Holdsworth was probably one of the first early adopters of MIDI guitars and synth guitars. With the, he adopted the SynthAxe technology fairly early on in its inception. So I would like to see that kind of develop more as well, for sure. And, maybe a MIDI bass as well. Being a bass player, I'd like to see that. Neil says it would be cool if it made coffee. Yeah, Presonus branded coffee would be lovely. Presonus a while back used to do spices, actually. I think I still have a couple of jars of the Presonus spices. They were made by our former CEO, Jim Boitnott, because Jim Boitnott has a chefing background. In his early life, he has been a head chef, so he knows how to, create things. And so he created a whole bunch of spices, and he had a local Baton Rouge company actually make them, according to his recipe and stuff. And then they were just little branded bottles of Presonus spices. And there was like a Cajun spice, there's a couple of others. I think there were like 3 different spices, and he used to basically, you could get them on the Presonus shop. Years ago, you could get them on the Presonus shop. They were fantastic. I have all 3 of the spices, because he would basically once he had made them, he would just send them around to Presonus staff. So we all had like a free jar of this stuff. Really, really good. Really, really good spices. I'm not really that much into spices, but these are really, really, really good. I really, really enjoyed them. And like I said, used to be able to get them on the Persona shop, but since he left the company, I think about two and a half years ago. And so obviously he took the recipes for the spices with him, and so it's not something that we do anymore. But it was great. It was great. Let's see. A user definable start page. That's a cool idea. So you can actually customize what you want on your start page per profile. So for each artist profile, you might want different information on the start page. So maybe a recent files list per profile, something like that, or a list of songs created using that particular profile. That might be a good extension of that suggestion. I like that. Studio Live Series 4 with new preamps. Yes, I like that suggestion a lot. That would be very cool. New Studio Live mixers, because the Studio Live mixers have been out for a while. So yeah, I would like to see new mixers as well, definitely. Let's see. A new instrument in the form of a modeling synth engine. I like that idea too. I think we've recently with Studio One Pro 7, I should say. We have actually taken a little tiny step towards that with the CV instrument, which allows you to kind of to use your hardware modular synths directly inside of Studio One as an instrument with the CV instrument. But yes, I'd like to see more movement in that direction too. That's a great suggestion. Whoa, the chat just jumped like a kangaroo in the mating season. As per Ron's suggestion, model synth that can CV to each other. Yes, definitely. CV via USB. That's kind of harder to do. Let's see. A specific groove extraction tool, a little separated from the current option we have as its own tool. Rich, that's a great idea. That is a terrific suggestion. I would agree with that 100%. Yeah, Bobby Booth was talking about a plugin for the tape machine rather than actual tape machine. That's cool. Just Bob says, Studio One that takes a snapshot of your settings, VST files, music files, so when you switch to a new computer that you can link everything back up correctly when reinstalling on a new computer. That's kind of going to be harder to do, or have the ability to move to the cloud and drop back in on a new computer when you don't use backups. See, that might be okay. That last bit kind of makes a little bit more sense of your suggestion, because you do have currently, if you're a member of Studio One Pro Plus, you do have the ability to back up your settings files to your profile. There's the backup and restore feature. Maybe what you're referring to there is an extension of that feature where it doesn't just back up and restore your settings files, it actually backs up your songs to your profile. The thing with that is that would require a lot of storage. That's the problem with that. It's going to require a lot of storage because you're talking about all of your uncompressed audio files and all sorts of other data that is in your songs folder for each song. So that's going to be quite hard to do when you've only got 100 gigabytes of storage per member. So you would be talking about expanding that 100 gigabytes to probably a terabyte, something like that, or even 500 gigabytes. That's kind of what you'd be talking about requiring, I think, to do that. That's a great idea, but I don't envisage that happening unless storage becomes an awful lot cheaper. But it's a great idea. Dwayne says, expand Metro software in UC to allow headphone output active in your iPad or Android tablets. Great idea. I would agree with that. Because I do use Metro. If you don't know what Metro is, it's a way to basically, through universal control, use an interface to control a Studio Live mixer in situ. And you can do that through a tablet. You can do that through any device that has universal control on it. And then you use the Metro feature basically to connect remotely to that mixer, and you can control it direct from wherever you are in the world. I tested this back in the early days when we were testing this out. I worked with a couple of the guys in the Baton Rouge office, and I remoted into Ray Tanson's mixer, and I was controlling his mixer from my Studio Live. And then we reversed it so that he could control mine from his Studio Live. It was amazing. And he mixed one of my songs, I mixed one of his songs, and the connection was amazing. Yes, there was latency, but I tell you what, it was only about 300 milliseconds of latency. That's not the audio latency, that's the latency for the command to be sent from the Studio Live mixer in Scotland to the Studio Live mixer in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and vice versa, the reverse of that as well. So it's actually really practicable, really useful, and it's a feature that I think is only going to get better and better. Persona's hot sauce, yes, that would be quite good, but unfortunately we don't do the spices anymore. Sad, I know. Mike at Peace Valley Audio says, maybe some improvements to Studio One Remote for tablet. I love being able to assign macros to those pages, but having the ability to resize the buttons to allow more per page. Great suggestion. Really good. I like that. We'd love a Persona's computer keyboard created by Personas, not China. You can get them. You can get them made by Editor's Keys, or there's another company that makes keyboard shortcut keyboards as well. I forget what they're called. I think they're Logic keyboards, I think is what they're called. So yeah, there's a couple of options there, but yes, you're right. They're not made by Presonus, but you know, they have to kind of kick back some money, I think, probably to Presonus for using the branding and all of that. But yeah, you can get them. But yes, Presonus don't make their own computer keyboards for the shortcuts. And Dave at Aurora's Boring Alice has just uploaded a song to Studio One Plus for the challenge. Good. The more the merrier. Keith says, AI that gives feedback on mix but does not make the changes but rather acts like a second pair of ears. That's a great suggestion as well. I like that too. Okay, so Dave has given us a little bit more info on his wrench at startup idea. He says the idea is to let folks set up their initial system from the beginning without default and the initial heads up of the default settings. Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I understand that a bit better now. Thanks for that. Jim's Facebook for red stick spices. Thank you, Billy. That's where you can get those. That's where those spices were. Yep. Just Bob says, I didn't know that you could back up settings files. Song backup was a wish list idea. Presonus could start a cloud storage service at some point. But that's probably some way down the line, I would think, if it's ever going to be possible. Because that would require a massive amount of storage space. Kyle, that's hilarious. Kyle says, AI that smacks you in the back of the head and tells you to fix that damn snare. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Neil says Presonus should make it so that Pro gets every possible feature that Pro Plus gets, like it used to be when Sphere was a brand new thing. Well, then kind of what would separate the subscription from the perpetual? That would be the question then. You know, if the perpetual license gets everything that the membership gets, then what's the point? There's no point. There's no point. And in actual fact, right at the beginning of what we called Presonus Sphere, there were features that were exclusive to Presonus Sphere members that nobody else actually got. So, you know, things like the loop libraries and all of that, those have always been exclusive to members. So there's like a bunch of WaveTick stuff just now. There's the noise design stuff. There's loads of stuff there that are really good sample packs and loop libraries that have always been exclusive to members of the subscription. That, you know, perpetual license holders don't get access to those. So that's always been the way. So if you make everything accessible to perpetual license holders as well as members, what do members, you know, what's the benefit for subscription members? I mean, let's use an analogy here of membership of a gym, for example, or a leisure center, or leisure center, I think you guys would say it. But if you're a member of a leisure center, and you pay a subscription fee to be a member, a monthly subscription fee or an annual subscription fee to be a member of that gymnasium, then that gives you access to everything that gymnasium or that leisure center offers. And it's all for one price. Whereas somebody that isn't a member has to pay individually for the jacuzzi, for the hot tub, for the sauna, for the swimming pool, for the diving boards, for the weights room, for the treadmills, for, you know, they don't get a discount in the cafe, for example. So, you know, that's like 7 things that everybody gets whether you're a member or not, you still get access to those things. But if you're a subscriber, if you're a member of the gym, you just get to use any of those for however long you want. For as long as you want. As many times as you want. And you don't pay any extra. Whereas somebody that's not a member, they have to pay every time. So, you know, I think you have to have something that's distinctive, at least. Neil says, I didn't say all features, I said all possible features. Answer, the difference is all of the things that require internet connectivity, such as collaboration. Okay, yeah, I'm afraid I'm not going to agree with you on that. Ron says, I think you're thinking modular synthesis, which is analog. Yes. I guess I was. In that particular example, yes, I was thinking of modular synthesis. Like the Euroracks and things like that. The stuff that my friend Robin Vincent is very, very into. And I have a few friends that are into that kind of stuff now. Gregor used to be really into it. Isn't so much anymore because he sold his Eurorack. Arne Kaiser, the general manager of Persona Software, he is still very much into all of that. I don't know if he still has his Eurorack stuff, though, but he certainly is into all of that stuff. All right, we got any more? Yes. Mike from Peace Valley Audio says, in the editor, when you have a chord mode enabled, it'd be nice if the whole key was blue, not just the tip for us old people with crap vision. Okay. Yep. Okay. I get that one. Yep. Ron says physical modeling synthesis refers to sound synthesis methods in which the waveform of the sound to be generated is computed using a mathematical model, a set of equations and algorithms to simulate a physical source of sound, usually a musical instrument. Yes, physical modeling. I like physical modeling. Yes, like the Yamaha VL series. Yes. Let's see, what else do we have here? Rock Tease says Persona sticker for the back window of my pickup. You can get Persona stickers actually pretty much anytime you get hardware products. I think you still get stickers. I've got a box full of them for all the hardware products I've got. Because they all come with the stickers. Anyone that has seen my studio photos, you'll notice I've got 2 stuck to my desk. But I've got loads. I've got loads of them. But yeah, pretty much anytime you get any Personas hardware, you should get stickers. But that's not the kind of sticker that you're talking about. You're talking about a sticker that you stick on the inside of the window, not kind of the outside. And I don't think we've ever done those. As far as I'm aware, I don't think we've ever done those. So yes, I would accept that as a product request. Keith says, for Christmas challenge, are parodies okay? Yes, just, keep the language clean would be my request. I would appreciate that. That's a personal request. And also, if I do play any of your tunes on the channel, if they got sweariness in it, that's not going to be good for me. Because YouTube have really clamped down on sweariness. I've seen a bunch of my friends whose content actually, they're gamers. And so they do get pretty sweary, and they get demonetized, and their videos get deprioritized by the algorithm. So, yeah. Yeah. Parodies are fine. Just, keep the language clean, please. Billy has posted an actual link for the Persona Spices at redstickspice.com. Yeah, sorry, Keith. I'm not going to be able to have that in the chat. Sorry, mate. And I'm not going to be able to read that out either. But that was funny. I'm not going to say that wasn't funny, Keith. It was funny, but I'm not going to be able to put that in the chat. Sorry. And I'm not going to be able to read it out either. But it is funny, though. And I see exactly where you're heading with that. Gives me an idea of kind of what you're thinking about when you're talking about parody. So that's cool. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left of the show. Keep your ideas coming if you have them, because we've got a good bucket load there. And I am definitely going to send a link of this to the guys in Hamburg as well, so that they can see some of the ideas that you guys have got. Billy Morgan says no sticker in the last IO Station 24C, but did get one with the first one and the Atom. Maybe we've run out. Maybe we have actually run out of the stickers. Man, that would suck if our products don't come with stickers anymore. I would have to actually complain about that. Now, fortunately, I'm in a position where I can talk to product managers and I can say, hey, get those stickers in the boxes. Do it. Do it. Or I'll scream. I can do that. So, yes. Yeah, if you guys are starting to see that you're buying products and you're not getting the stickers, I will complain. It wasn't actually that naughty, Neil. But it did include a certain word that begins with the fifth letter of the alphabet. I think it's the fifth. A, B, C, D, E. You know what letter I'm talking about. Yes, it did begin with... It was definitely a sweary word beginning with the letter F. So, yeah. Taxi Williams Music is here. He says, hi, Johnny. I like the new Studio One update, but it appears the quantize is not working for the clip launcher for my MIDI. I have the input quantize enabled, but it's not working. We are aware of that issue. That one is logged internally with developers. Hopefully that will get fixed in the foreseeable future. Detachable inspector. Yeah, I would like that too, Billy, actually. Now that we've got a detachable browser, and you know what? You have no idea how long I've been asking for a detachable browser. And finally, we have the detachable browser. Now, I know, you know, we talk about these things and we go, oh, it must be so easy to do that. So easy to implement making that browser detachable. It's not. It really isn't. Which is why it's taken them this long, because I've been talking about this in Studio One 3. In 2015, so I've been talking to the guys for 9 years, and it's always been, you know, oh yeah, that'd be really, really great. We'd love to be able to do it. And so it must have been a case of they've not been able to do it until now. So now we have the detachable browser. So hopefully they will do the same with the inspector as well. That would be cool. Be able to put the inspector on a second screen so that, you know, you can always see the inspector without it taking up screen real estate. Yeah. So for all of these ideas, and they're great, and I'm glad you guys are brainstorming here. What I'm going to recommend is that your ideas be put here. This is the new replacement. What I'm about to post here, this is the new replacement for answers.presonus.com. You remember Answers? Yep. Well, that was the place where you made feature requests. So feedback-software, I can't speak. feedback-software.presonus.com is the place to go make feature requests nowadays. But that said, I'm still going to make sure that the guys in Hamburg get to see this video. Seeing as we have talked about these searchable macros when adding macro command. I think that's actually a thing now, Billy. I think you can actually do that now already. Yeah. It's just like, seriously, there's no alcohol in this thing. And yet I inexplicably lost the ability to speak. It's like, okay, you know, uh, full disclosure, English is not my first language. Scots is my first language. English is not even my second language. Sarcasm is my second language. English is my third language. So, please give me a little bit of a break. Site can't be reached. It should be able to be reached. Unless I've spelled it wrong. I'm going to check and be sure. And it works for me. It works for me. Yeah, feedback-software.personas.com. It does work. Yeah, in fact, the mistake I made was not putting the HTTPS and the colon and the 2 backslashes in front of it. I should have done that. But yes, that website does actually work. Thank you, Billy, for correcting my link for me. I appreciate that. Yeah, Rock, click on Billy's link that he posted there, because it does work. I've just tested it. It absolutely 100% works. So I can show you what that site looks like. Oops. That's where I want it to go. So this is what it looks like. Studio One Pro feature request. Now, here's the thing. I'm already signed in here. But if you click on this guy, that's my profile. You don't want to see that. But if you click on this guy, if you're not signed in, your avatar will not be there. And what it will say is it'll say, sign in with your Studio One Pro Plus credentials. If you're not a member of Studio One Pro Plus, don't worry about it. Just sign in with your email address and your password that you use for logging in to your my.personas.com account. It's the same credentials, okay? And you'll be able to get in. It'll take you to connect.personas.com, which is the single sign-on thing that we use for everything now. And then you'll see, once you're signed in, you should see a blue button that says continue to software feedback or something like that. And then you click on that. And then you can search in the search bar here for your feature request and see if it already exists. If it already exists, click on this up arrow here to vote it up. Okay? If it doesn't exist, then you click on this guy here, new feature request. And then it'll say here, hey, before you post, if you have a question about your product key or product registration or want to report a bug, please create a support ticket. Yes. And then you can ignore this bit here. This is outdated information that we ported over from Answers. So ignore that. I've asked them to take this off. I don't know why it's not been done yet. Please run a search first to find your request like yours to vote on it. If you still can't find it, then proceed with your request. We only allowed one request per post. Feature request posts with complete lists of features or duplicate feature requests will be deleted without notice. So stick your title in here, make it short to the point, describe your feedback in more detail. So if you've got a specific thing, like Rich's thing about the offsets for sound variations, this is where Rich would put his title, and then in here he can put all of the relevant detailed information about what the feature should look like, how it should work. And if he's got a video, I know he does have a video, he can just click on this and he can attach that video to the feature request. Then you hit submit. And there you go. And that's how you do that. That's how you make a feature request. And Mike has just put that in his browser favorites. Will the mystery guest please sign in? Okay, Mike says, I almost made it to the end, but he's got to go. Good to see you. And he says he'll be around more. I am back to making music after a long break. Mike, I am so glad. And I cannot emphasize my gladness enough that you are back to making music, and also that you are back around this Studio One community again. I am so glad. I am so thrilled to have you back. This is really, really great news. So welcome back, and don't put any pressure on yourself. Just create for fun. Create because you like creating. Don't put any pressure on yourself to be the next John Williams or to be the next great orchestrator for films or anything like that. Just have fun. Make music because it's good, because it's fun. I see this a lot, and I've done it myself where, if I put expectations on myself and I don't measure up to those expectations and I fail, then, I want to quit. So, and I go through periods of that. I've been in the music business since I was a kid. I've been in the music business since I was like 5 or 6 years old, since I've been performing. And, I have always battled with that whole thing of, I don't measure up. I'm not good enough. There are always people that are better than me. So why does the world need my music? Why does the world need my creative input? It doesn't. My music doesn't measure up. That's just like totally 100% a lie. It's a lie that we believe, that we tell ourselves, and that little voice that sits on our shoulder and whispers in our ear and says, hey, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. Nobody needs to hear your music. Everybody else's music is better than yours. It's a lie. It's a monstrous lie. And I have had to battle with that all my professional career. And yes, there have been points where I have wanted to just throw the towel in and quit. But then when I get to that point, there are two things that occur to me. Number one, I'm not very good at anything else. So if I did quit music, what would I do? I'm not very good at anything else because, I'm autistic. So I have, laser focused my life around music. So what am I going to do? I did try my hand at having a career in professional sport. Injury ended that for me. So I couldn't even go down that route. And I'm nearly 50 now, so I definitely couldn't go down that route. So, what am I going to do? At the end of the day, everybody's input is valid. Everybody's music is valid. Everybody has something to say. Even if they're just a beginner, even if they're just starting out, or even if they've been doing it for a few years, everybody has something to say. You have a unique voice. The hardest thing in music is finding that voice. It is so hard. I've been doing it my entire life, and I still don't think I have fully discovered my own voice in music. A lot of my music still sounds a little bit like other people that I have listened to a lot and admire. But, and that's definitely one part of how you go about finding your voice in music, is by learning from people that you like the sound of and that you like what they do and you want to do what they're doing. The trick is then taking what you learn from them and making that your own, and making it your own way of saying it, and your own, it's like when you learn a language, it's like not just learning the language, but learning the dialect, and you're having your own stamping your own unique personality on what you say. Everybody's got a musical personality. Everybody has, and the whole world needs to hear your musical personality. They need to hear your voice. They need to hear my voice. So that's why I make music. That's why I create. That's why I do this show. That's why I started this channel. That's why I do everything that I do. That's why I talk to people in Facebook every single day. That's why I'm answering questions every single day. That's why, I reach out to our customers every single day. I don't have to do that. That's not part of my job. It's not part of my work remit. But I do it because I love you guys and I want to help you all find your voice and find your voice in music and use Presonus products to do that. That's my passion. And so that's why I do what I do. But yeah, you know, when I started this channel, I was just like, you know what? There's so many other people doing exactly the same thing as me. There's Joe Gilder. Joe is a very dear friend of mine. There's Graham Cochran, another really good friend of mine. There's Jonny Guy, who I described on his show on Friday as, you know, we're separated by an ocean, but, you know, we're a heartbeat away. Certainly with music and our ideas about music making and Presonus products, we share the same heartbeat, right? There's all of these other people, and there's Marcus Hoskins, and there's Gregor. You know, there's all of these people making videos that are way better than mine. And I could have given up. And actually, there have been points where I've been just like, man, I don't need to make a video on compression because all of these other people have made better videos on compression. And then I stopped myself from thinking that. And I went, hang on a minute. I have my way of doing compression. I have my way of teaching it. If I thought like that, as an educator, because I've been a professional educator, I'm a qualified educator. I've taught at high school, I've taught at university degree level, I've taught undergrad students, I've taught postgrad students. So I'm very qualified. But here's the thing. If I thought for a second that I didn't need to teach something because other people have already taught it and better, does that really make sense? It doesn't make any sense. Because if I don't teach it, then who is? And those students that I teach are not going to hear it. So, yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. Oh, somebody else has made a video on it. I don't need to anymore. No, that's stupid. So, I stopped myself from thinking that way. And I did make a series on compression, which, by the way, you can go to my website right now to johnnylipshamstudios.co.uk, and you can sign up for the email list. And my very, very, very good friend and sponsor of my Sunday Night Live show and my Songwriting Simplified show, Alps Media. That's my dear friend Louis. Alps Media. When you sign up to that list, you'll get that compression series sent to you straight away. Just for signing up to that email list, you get that compression series for free. It's still available. And it's a great little series, actually. And I'm really pleased with it. I'm really proud of it. I'm glad I made it. But I nearly didn't. Because I thought, you know what? There's other people that do better videos on compression, so why do I need to do it? So, anyway. Little rabbit run there. But yes, Mike, glad you're back. Too many see, as Rich says, too many see the end goal, but not the next step. Correct. Just Bob says, before you add a VST instrument, include a button where you can play the same of your track via loop function and audition the VST instead of dragging in and removing. Okay. Oh, right. I see what you mean. Where you have like a way to be able to demo the instrument, maybe in the browser, before dragging it in. Okay, I think I understand that. Yeah, like it plays a sample of your track. Okay, yeah, that might be quite tricky to do, but I like the idea. Anyway, I like the idea of having the instrument and being able to kind of click on the instrument in the browser and being able to actually select your sound in the browser before you drag it in. I like that idea. Bobby says there are some people that are better than me, but I just try harder. That's the way. That's the approach. And Neil says, this is why I insist on keeping this purely as a hobby rather than having aspirations to make a living at it, as that tends to dampen the fun aspect. I totally see what you're saying. Totally see what you're saying. I've managed to have a very enjoyable, lengthy professional career. I started full-time professional in 1995. 1995. I started full-time professional in music, 1995. But before then, I had been, I guess, part-time professional, semi-professional, I think maybe you would call it, where I was playing gigs on the weekend, but I was at school or I was at college in the daytime. But yeah, it wasn't until I moved to London in 1994, and then the year after that, I decided I wanted to do this. I wanted to be full-time professional, which I dreamt of being when I was a little kid. But yes, I've been making money from music since I was a kid. But it has always been fun. It has always been fun for me to do that. So I'm very glad to have been able to have the career that I've had. And I know that not everybody can have a career in music. And yes, it's been hard. And yes, there have been times when I've had no money at all. And I've been overdrawn at the bank, and I've had to go and beg the bank manager to extend my overdraft. I've had to do that. And then there was an 18-month period where I literally had no work at all. And I went and got a job as a bar manager. So, yeah. So I was a manager of a bar for 18 months. And then the gig of a lifetime came along, and I couldn't pass it up. So I dropped the job as a bar manager, and I went back on the road, and I went all around Europe for 18 months. It was great. I was on the road for pretty much 18 months. It was fantastic. So yeah, and then I retired from performing in 2020 because I couldn't afford to keep my band with COVID and all of that happening. So I had to let my band go, and that was that. And I'm happy having retired from performing, and now I just do this. I do my day job at Presonus, and I do session work. So I take the recording jobs that I want to do, not what I need to do to keep the money coming in. So I like it that way around. Anyway, we are at the end of the show. We are 5 minutes over, actually. So the next show is going to be on... it will be on the 22nd. There will not be a show next Sunday. Okay? There will be no show on the 15th. So if you're looking for a Sunday Night Live, there will not be one next Sunday. Because I am going to be out of the country. But I will be back on the 22nd for the Christmas special, which I will be advertising in advance. So you'll get to see that. A video will go up advertising the Christmas special, which will be on the 22nd. It'll be an extended show. We'll be announcing the winner of the Christmas Songwriting Challenge. I'll have Rich on for at least some of the show, if not the whole show. And it's going to be a blast. And we'll start talking more generally about predictions for music broadly in 2025. Not just Presonus products, but music broadly in 2025. Who do we think is going to be the next big thing, the next big act? Or, that kind of stuff. We'll talk all about that kind of stuff on the extended Christmas show on the 22nd. And then we will have the Hogmanay show on New Year's Eve, which will again be an extended show, but it will be at 7 p.m. Central Time on Hogmanay. We call it Hogmanay here. It's the Scots for New Year's Eve. So that's why I call it Hogmanay. Being Scottish, it makes sense. So that will be on New Year's Eve at 7 p.m. Central, which will be 1 a.m. UK, 2 a.m. in Europe. And it's going to be like lunchtime in Australia and New Zealand for people like my good friend Rock Tees. All right, so that's the end of the show. There is going to be a Zoom afterwards, which Billy is going to host. So I will see you guys over there then. There will be no Songwriting Simplified on for the rest of the year, in fact. So we will be back in January after New Year's, and we will start 2025 with a bang. All right, folks, I will see yous all on the Christmas special show on the 22nd. Take care, everybody. Good night.